It's Thursday, March 28th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. On Barnstable Today, we learn more about the comprehensive water quality management plan with the town council president, and we do a deep dive with the Cape Cod Regional Technical School. Superintendent Rob Sanborn. Now for a look at news and notes. Mark your calendars and clear your schedules. Stickers for ORV Sandy Neck Beach Park go on sale this coming Monday, April 1st. Check the website for a list of requirements for your vehicle, and we'll see you on the neck. Traditional sewering and treatment, non-traditional innovation, and more is included in the Comprehensive Water Quality Management Plan. We learn more from Town Council President Jim Crocker. Our weekly chat with Town Councilor President Jim Crocker. Welcome to the show again, Jim.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So today's topic is one that people don't like to really talk about, but we are going to talk a lot about it, and we have actually for the past few years. So it's wastewater and septic.
Yes. No, you've been very good reporting on all the expenditures that are going forward to create this new plan. But the new plan needs to be journalized, needs to be submitted as an update to the 2011 plan, and the state will have a sign off with the DEP and so forth. So we met as a think tank for the first time today. And what's important is you want to put together all the analysis of all the work that's been completed to date and how that might fill an appendix of a report. You want to look at how you truly can fund it so you really can make this project work. And you want to talk about what is it that you've started and how do you build on that as you deliver a plan that looks into the future.
All right. And let's talk just a little bit, you know, we've talked about it here on the show, but there's so many facets of what you can do, traditional to non-traditional. So this is a blended plan, correct?
It has to be. The town of Barnstable is, you know, the third largest landmass in the state. What we're talking about is miles of pipes, which would be astronomical in price. And so what we're looking at is some different types of techniques, but we intend to wholly use the capacity we have in Hyannis at the sewer plant to its best ability, and we intend to open Joint Base Cape Cod to the residents of Cape Cod, and we'll, by doing that, the residents of Barnstable will also assist because we'll pick up pieces from both Mashpee and Sandwich, so we'll be assisting those two towns as well.
Right, and when we look at the town in itself, like you said, the land mass is really large. So we're talking the western part of the town, which really isn't feasible to throw pipes all the way down 28, is it?
Well, that's really the point you're raising, which is again astute because you've been working on these issues so long yourself. What happens is it's 62 square miles.
Jeez.
And when you look at that much land mass, you have to say to yourself, what do you do with the big pipe sewer system to bring big pipe solutions down the road? Big pipe needs to be driven by pressure, so you have to stop all the within certain distances to ramp up the fluid, and the fluid has to be in a certain consistency, so you need to emulsify it, and there's all these problems and pitching at a great length. The shortest distance for the western part of the town would be headed to Joint Base Cape Cod, would have some connectors for Mashpee and Sandwich, and would bring a joint effort into there. And those are the three towns that are also currently in an agreement, because the effluent coming out of those three towns doesn't stay within the boundary of any one of those towns, but it's actually been identified as polluting Papaneset Bay and that estuaries in that end of town. So we're happy to have them join us, and we're happy to create solutions. They both have started to create articles for the town meeting, because they have town meeting, not town councils, that will allow them to give us rights to pass in their town. So we're on top of it. It's happening early enough so all this can melt together and become a very cohesive plan.
Right, and I don't know if all the residents understand that, you know, with our single source aquifer, watersheds are shared.
Yes.
There's no town boundary on a watershed. It's sometimes a difficult concept to think that, well, geez, you pass into Mashpee, so it's Mashpee's problem, but it's not. We share that watershed together.
Yeah, well, in the case of Papaneset, we're gaining more negative discharge from the two towns than we are producing it ourselves into that estuary. It's different when you move down the coast and you start talking about estuaries that are solely ours, which would be the Three Bays estuary, which we're working feverishly on. But then you end up on the other side, which is Lewis Bay, where all the Steamship Authority and all the boats to the islands come in, and that's another shared one from Yarmouth, and we do have an agreement with Yarmouth also to work cohesively in that neighborhood. So you're absolutely right. Sometimes the contribution in your estuary may not be 100% yours, 50% yours, or even 33% yours. So, but it needs our work and our attention.
Right. So how do we engage residents and get them into this process? You know, we're going to be talking about this like literally through the summer. This plan's got to go to the state.
Yes.
How can we engage the public?
Well, there'll be a public process where the draft plans are rolled out and it's discussed. And it also has to be discussed with all of our appointed boards because they all play a role in what our intentions are here. So that is a very well-defined issue that was defined again today at length in our meeting. And we will have a rollout for that draft plan before it goes out, and it will be comment time for sure. Right now, it's a collection of the ideas, it's a collection of the data, and we need to get a draft plan organized in a fashion that we know will have a successful result and live on beyond its years.
We're going to talk about it a lot.
Yeah, yes, and we should. I mean, it's a sole source aquifer. We know that we're talking about many different fire districts or water districts, yet we're one town, and the town should try to work to collect its sewer discharge and do the right thing with it.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Jim.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's not your father's tech school. Today's technical schools have a waiting list, and admittance is highly competitive. We sat down with the superintendent of Cape Cod Regional Technical School for a discussion on how tech schools have changed in the 21st century, and with a new vision comes a new school. Mr. Sanborn, big
Bob's
things.
Fine.
Bob's fine. Big things happening here at the Technical High School. Part of the Barnstable school system. You know, you have many towns here that are a part of the school. We're talking academics today with you and the direction that the school is going in. There's a new building on the horizon, going to be finished by 2020. Talk a little bit about how the school is meeting the 21st century needs of students and not duplicating efforts in other schools.
Yeah, we are, what we're trying to accomplish is, through our academy model going into the new school, is the integration of academic and technical programming to an extent that we haven't been able to deliver in the current facility. The academic programming is going to be right across the halls from each academy. So for example, the Transportation Academy, Auto Collision, Auto Tech, Marine Service Technology. The English teacher, the math teacher, the social studies teacher, and the science teacher are going to be right across the hall. That group, those teachers, and along with the technical teachers, are going to become a team. And we hope to see an integration that we aren't able to accomplish in this building, either academically to academically, the math and the social studies teacher, or the social studies and the English teacher, but also across the hall to the technical teachers. Because technical teachers have an amazing way of teaching kids on the job, doing things in the middle of the moment. And I think academic teachers can learn a tremendous amount from that. Vice versa, many of our technical teachers don't come in as trained teachers. They are expert in their content and in their technical trade, but they learn the craft of teaching over time. By osmosis and working as a team, I think that's going to improve both instructional modalities, both academic and technical. Not to mention the impact on the students in that academy, where you have a team of adults, they may not always like this, but a team of adults interested in them, concerned about them, and looking for the most achievement out of each and every student.
Right. When you talk about this, it's somewhat of a model of a cohort that you would find in higher learning.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, having these students and these teachers together, are they going to be together for all of those years so they'll really literally become a community?
Predominantly. We know as we get into the planning stages, we had visioning sessions 2-3 years ago, and it was quite utopian. But now, as the rubber's hitting the road, there's things we do want them to move around the building.
Right.
But predominantly, they're going to be spending time in their transportation academy, or their construction academy, or their STEAM academy. That's where most of the bulk of their, certainly on their technical time they will, just like they do here in the current building. But a lot of their academics will be provided in that area. But if you need to take chemistry, you're going to have to take chemistry where it's offered. So there's still going to be some movement around the building. But it's that team of teachers and of caring adults that are monitoring those kids in the academy. Whether they're moving around or not, that's one thing. But when they meet in their professional learning time, they're going to be talking about kids, talking about student achievement, talking about how's Johnny doing, how's Mary doing, you know, what's working with you. You know, you have teachers who are very successful with kids, and then another teacher just down the hall is having a problem. They can talk about that and work it out, and the kids can't pull their wool over their eyes too, because they're talking all the time and integrating curriculum.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about curriculum.
Yep.
It's changed over the years.
Yep.
Shops have come and gone.
Yep.
What's the current plans for this new school, and what will you have for your academies?
Sure. What we did is we looked at all 17 of our programs, and after the envisioning was done, we looked at, okay, what does our programming look like, and what should we be going forward with? What we found is we really should be going forward with most of what we offer, with regards to wage and labor statistics, with regards to outcomes, with regards to graduate follow-up study, with wages. You know, we did a report on all 17 programs on 6 or 7 factors. And then we chose 7 programs to take a closer look at. Fast forward, we discontinued 2 programs by a vote of our curriculum subcommittee. And unfortunately, 2 great programs will not be in this new facility, and that's early childhood education and welding. So, but the statistics and the report that we did showed that the other 15 programs, you know, the job prospects are very good, the wages are very good, well into the future. And I think you've heard of the skills gap.
Right.
I mean, many of the programs that we offer are addressing the skills gap. And the skills gap, if people don't know, is aging out. The electricians, plumbers, carpenters, HVAC technicians, just to name a few, are aging out of that profession. And we have devalued working with your hands for so long that, and pushing college, which I would think to the detriment of our economy and to some students, that it's time to reinvest and educate people on the quality job prospects for students in the trades and in the programs that we offer.
Right. The trades are actually really important to the Cape. Home building, renovation, remodeling are probably some of the jobs that you see now that are well-paying. How do you make some of the other ones, though, like HVAC, kind of sexy for the kids? Like, how do you get? Yeah, I want to be an air conditioning technician.
Well, I got a funny story. HVAC was on the brink of possibly being discontinued several years ago. Never got to the point of that we were going to discontinue it, but enrollment was low, and outcomes weren't great, and we got a new teacher. It's all about the teacher. It is now our #1 program in this school, and that's a tribute to Sean Doyle is the name of the teacher. And by the way, we're looking for another one. Talk about trying to find a needle in a haystack is to try to find an HVAC teacher. So we are looking. So.
Yeah, that's the toughest, because they're so overworked right now they have no time to teach it.
Exactly. I mean, the other thing that makes it sexy is when students in their 11th and 12th grade year can go out into the community and work and earn a paycheck of $15, $17, $18, $19 an hour while in high school. And those wages just go up from there in that industry because they are desperate for help.
So I know you have a traditional cosmetology for women. Are you seeing more enrollment for young girls into some of these or what would have been considered non-traditional skills in the future here? Is that a goal?
Well, in discontinuing our early childhood education program, which was predominantly female, non-traditional is a big word around here. Every every year we have a non-traditional fair where we bring in, if in the case of non-traditional shops that are traditionally male, we bring in females that are in the industry working, and vice versa, because there are programs where, you know, cosmetology, for example, where the non-traditional is a male. So, and we have to report on that on a yearly basis, and we've made some inroads on that. It's difficult because you're dealing with stereotypes and you know, long-held beliefs about who should be in what profession, but we work very hard to break that all down. And we have had we're having success, especially in the construction trades, and I think that's partially due to the fact that parents now know that those are good jobs, good paying jobs, and we're seeing more females in auto tech, and in HVAC in particular, we've seen you know, 3, 4 females in that trade. It's a little more difficult on the flip side, but we continue to work on it because we are measured by the amount of non-traditional students in our technical program. So that is a big focus for us here.
Excellent. You know, you went through the whole process to get the money through school committee, you know, obviously dealing with multiple towns. Talk a little bit about what it meant to actually get that passed. I mean, that was a long haul on your part to try to educate a community that might not even be familiar with the school, that knowing that it was part of our school system here in the town of Barnstable.
It was a big process, but it was in the end a very goosebump inducing process when the vote total came in. I don't know if you remember, but it was 3 to 1. And 75% of the people backed the building of a new school here. And I first of all need to say thank you again for that. It was about information, I believe. We were out 3 to 4 times to the towns from the beginning to the end. And even before we got into the MSBA program, we brought our town's leaders, our town managers in and saying, it's coming. It was like in November, and we got in January, I think, of 15. So it was constant communication, where when we had options, when we chose our option, when the construction budget came in, when the construction budget came down, when we got some additional money thanks to our Cape and Islands delegations to recognize the students who are economically disadvantaged in our school. It was just a constant effort of communication and information. And then I'm not under any illusion. I mean, we did work hard to get that passed, and I thank the voters, but it's 45 years of this building doing right by students, I think, and a lot of people that preceded me. I mean, and then all the people you run into in the community when you go to a boatyard, when you go to an auto service place, you know, or a landscaping company, you're going to meet our graduates, and they're predominantly staying on Cape, feeding the local workforce, and ultimately buying a home, which is becoming a very difficult thing to do on Cape Cod, but they earn wages that can make them do that.
Excellent. I think I'll finish up this particular piece of the interview with the question of school choice.
Yes.
So it's cutthroat and competitive. I don't see any other words for that right now. The dollar for the student. How does Cape Tech set themselves apart for school choice?
Well, just to take a step back, we're an application school, so every student that comes here fills out an application. They apply. So we're not in the school choice program. That's not to say that school choice hasn't affected us. Right. Because, so just to finish the application, every student applies. The sending districts send their 7th and 8th grade records with their attendance, their grades, and their discipline. There's a formal interview, and then that's scored. So that's how we operate. We start every year with an enrollment of 0 for our freshman class. So how is school choice and also charter schools has turned this into, as you say, a cutthroat, very I call it hyper competitive. It is to the detriment, I believe, of students at some points, the amount of competition that's going on. What we ask from Cape Cod Tech's perspective is let them see the place. That's not always true. We spend a tremendous amount of time getting the word out here from social media, radio advertising, direct mail, and going to them, and tours, I'm sorry, to get the word out. We do spend a good amount of money on that. There's no doubt about it, because it is more cutthroat than it used to be. There's only one district in my district that allows every student to see this place.
Wow.
And that's Nauset.
Yep.
So Barnstable does allow the interested students, but it used to be that every student saw them. The one thing that sending districts do need to give us is their mailing labels and their mailing addresses, so that's how we can communicate with prospective students. But as charter schools and school choice is expanded, and now it's at full scale,
Right.
The willingness of sending districts to let every student see this school has diminished. So it's extremely competitive.
It certainly is. So, you want to take me out to the construction site?
I go out there every day, Paula, so I'd love to go out there.
Excellent.
So let's go get our hard hats.
All right, thanks. Less than 3 months since the groundbreaking here at Cape Tech, and with me, Bob Sanborn. Construction is just exploding around us. It's amazing.
The group that we have with Colliers International as our owner's project manager, Drummy, Rosane, and Anderson, our architects, and then bringing on Brate Builders as part of a public bidding process has been fantastic, and they are moving with light speed. And just so everybody knows, there's always testing people, always people that are looking at the construction to making sure it's being done. We have our representatives, the MSBA has their representatives, so making sure that things are on time, and we're ahead of time right now, but also safe and appropriately done.
Right. So we're looking back at this actual construction site. Looks like foundations in for the basements.
Yeah, most of the high foundations are done. Most of the footings are done. John Kavakis will correct me later if I've said the wrong word. But if you look at the drone footage on our website now, you get a really good sense of the outline of this building, and it's going to be stacked upon that. The high walls you see behind me right now are the basis of the underneath the gym for the most part, and the mechanical rooms. And then as you go back towards the back of the site, you're going to see the two wings of the first and second floors of the academies. Right over here, the restaurant will be right over here, and my office is going to be right there. So getting excited. I come out here every morning because I can't get enough of this, and I'm learning every day from the expertise of the people in these two trailers that you can't see right now.
So let's talk a little bit about the technology of this building.
Yep.
You know, you're Cape Tech, right?
We are Cape Tech.
You're about tech, but there's some really cool modular stuff that's allowing you to accelerate the time that this building's taken to build.
Yeah, I mean, Brate Builders, when they took over, they said, we're getting you in a year early. We were looking at September of 21 to get in. We're now looking at September of 20. That's not official, but that's what he says it's going to happen. We're using, they're using precast concrete panels as part of the wings, which I'm told go up very similar to an erector set. So it cuts down on the labor costs, and I think it's one of the reasons it's speeding up the timetable.
Right. And talk a little bit about technology in the building. You've got some green stuff going on here too, right?
Yeah, we are LEED Silver certified at the end of this with 1% solar, which I see probably expanded over time after the project's over. We have a green roof on the back, and obviously all the energy efficiencies of the HVAC systems, of the air conditioning systems, and then the windows are highly energy efficient as opposed to the current building.
Right. So when we go into the site, what are we actually going to see in there? What's happening today?
Today, I think we're doing some concrete pours in some of the, I believe, the footings, and there may even be some other type pours that we'll see. Most of the rebar is in, ready for the short walls. I don't think they're pouring those today, but you'll see some cement, you'll see some dirt. You're going to see a lot of dirt, and you're going to see a lot of rebar.
Excellent. And just one final thing is, did the weather having a mild winter play into this a little?
I think it's been fantastic. It's been a great. They've been able to pour almost any day they wanted to, and they can pour. They tell me they can pour all the way down to 0 degrees, but we haven't even had to deal with that. And that's once again professionals watching that process, that it's being done correctly at the temperatures that it's being done at. But the winter, or the lack of a winter, has been, even though there's snow right over there, has been great. Has been great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's go in.
Let's go in. All right.
Up next, things to do, places to go, and people to meet. The town of Barnstable is hosting a community planning event this Friday, March 29th from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Explore how we are impacted by natural hazards and develop a comprehensive strategy to reduce potential risks. Improve our ability to recover quickly after major hazard events and improve our overall resilience. Through the municipal vulnerability preparedness process, participants will explore current and future vulnerabilities to our infrastructure, community, and environment resulting from natural hazards and changing climate conditions, and develop and prioritize municipal and community response actions. Learn more and register at townofbarnstable.us. Comments, suggestions, accolades? Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Email us or send us an old-fashioned note by carrier pigeon. Channel 18 works. For you. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.